The Wire is by far one of the greatest crime drama television series of all time. Stringer Bell had turned out to be a very snakish, devious person, very similar to Proposition Joe and Marlo Stanfield as well. But what people didn't pay attention to was that Stringer Bell was secretly plotting to undermine and take Avon Barksdale's position as the king of Baltimore. Now, when Avon Barksdale was incarcerated, Stringer Bell, who was Avon's second in command, was left to take full control as head of the Barksdale organization. Stringer's job was to run the day-to-day operation and to do, as Avon quoted, run it as you see fit.
They gonna come, but until then, we gotta do what we can do, where we can do it.
Yeah, you need to go to Prop Joe. I ain't gonna argue with you. You run it as you see fit. At least till I get home, you do.
Stringer Bell would eventually go on to take up Proposition Joe on his offer to join forces with the New Day Co-op, which was an alliance of drug dealers, major drug kingpins in the city of Baltimore. With an offer, Proposition Joe will provide them with heroin, right, which is directly shipped by the Greek organization. Now, Stringer Bell, in his lack of street sense, decided to apply his business approach and knowledge that he obtained from his economics class into the streets and failed horribly.
Man, every market-based business runs in cycles, and we're going through a down cycle right now.
String, this ain't about your motherfucking business class either. It ain't that part of it. It's that other thing. The street is the street, always.
Especially once the towers had been demolished and the Barksdale crew needed territory, but instead of taking over the corners, convinced Marlo to share corners and join the co-op. Marlo seen Avon's team as weak, right? So Marlo seen Avon's team as weak, with Brother Mouzone previously getting his own confirmation of Stringer Bell orchestrating a hit on Mouzone. It had backfired after Brother Mouzone trapped Stringer Bell as they had a conversation, and when they met, while Brother Mouzone had been recovering from a stomach shot. At that moment, Stringer Bell's fate had been sealed. Avon Barksdale would eventually be released from prison and was able to witness the mess that Stringer Bell had created. He was getting up to date and filled in on the day-to-day operations of what was going on while he was locked up. Slim Charles, who was newly hired muscle for Avon, Avon, and Stringer Bell were having a talk while parked at a corner about why Avon Barksdale and his crew, why they didn't have any territory or have any of the prime real estate. And a lot of people didn't pay attention to this part, but Slim Charles, whose title was simply the enforcer, tried to explain the reason why they didn't have any territory. Stringer Bell kept interrupting and beating around the bush so that Avon would be kept in the dark as to the reason why Avon's crew didn't have any territory. So Avon would eventually grow tired of Stringer Bell cutting Slim Charles off. So Avon would furiously stop Stringer.
Man, we ain't got fed and popular neither. What the fuck?
I'm working on it, man, and the Avenue corners too.
What you mean you working on it, man? Why we ain't at least got a shop set up down the block?
We did.
It was a setback.
Ran our boys off.
Who?
Just some player, man.
Listen, let him tell me. We hiring for muscle.
And by judging the look on Stringer's face, it was a look of complete shock, like, hold up. I'm second in command. We brothers. I called the shots when you weren't around. He just muscled. But Avon could sense that Stringer wasn't telling him the full truth. So he allowed Slim to speak, and Slim began to tell Avon like it is. Ran him and his crew off the corners. So this one, Avon Barksdale became irate.
Boy Marlo.
Marlo? Who the fuck is Marlo? He tied to one of the mobs?
Young boy. Running on his own, too. Got maybe 15 spots along here and the avenue.
An independent with no fucking support. Got all the prime real estate, and we doing what exactly? Young boy ran us off the corner? I'm losing my motherfucking mind, man.
Now, later in that very same episode is where Avon and String will have a deep conversation about would it be wise for Avon and them to go to war with Marlo, and what's at stake. Contemplated going to war with Marlo over a few corners, blah, blah, blah. So Stringer Bell who to me was trying to urge Avon to lead the streets so that he could take Avon's spot as king, which I'll explain a little bit later. But fast forward, a war would ensue. Here's where Stringer was angling and positioning to take Avon's crown, in my opinion. So Stringer Bell, as you can see, String had developed a pattern of keeping things away from Avon. So as season 3 went on, Slim Charles had climbed up in the ranks, and Stringer Bell sensed this. Just like in one episode, due to war, Slim Charles, he had assigned security to stay close to Stringer Bell. As Stringer Bell would walk into a meet with Proposition Joe, Stringer demanded that security not follow him and not to stay close to him. But he then responded and said, "Tall man told me to stay close and told me to stay on you, blah, blah, blah." Stringer got upset and says,
Yo, stay in the car, man.
Tall man said to stick to you.
Like, tall man gonna be there when I stomp on your fucking head? Stay in the car.
instead of answering the Stringer Bell, the soldiers were answering to Slim Charles, which explains the scene when Stringer Bell was asked to wait outside before Slim Charles gave the green light before Stringer could go in.
Nah, he say nobody, so you have to wait right here.
What you mean, wait right here? You know who I am, boy?
Man say he want to see Avon.
Making me wait, see my own partner.
He knew, String.
Fuck that. A lot of new faces around here, man. Way too many, you ask me. The fuck out of here.
Now, many people suspected that the reason that they didn't answer the string no more is because Stringer Bell ultimately became distant with the street and he didn't want to play the game no more. He was trying to distance himself from the Avon Barksdale organization. No, it was actually due to the fact that Avon just gained more respect for Slim Charles because Slim was loyal. He played his position. Slim Charles was taking care of business. And him and Avon were on the same page when it came to handling Marlowe and the war. And lastly, he was just cut out to be second in command, which leads me to the legendary scene, which is hands down my favorite scene of The Wire, which confirmed to me that Stringer Bell was in fact angling to take Avon's position as king. Now, Stringer Bell goes on to meet with Avon, but instead ends up talking to Slim Charles about ordering a hit of Senator Clay Davis. Now, Stringer Bell was plotting because as Stringer seen, Slim Charles had took his position, he took his spot. And as long as he stood close to Avon, he knew that he could keep Avon in the game. And Slim Charles would continue to keep Avon on point from the traps, just like Slim Charles tried to do in warning Proposition Joe from people like Marlo Stanfield.
String like that. String died because of some other shit.
What?
He died because of some other shit, nigga. I couldn't fix it. I tried. That nigga String was right about this shit, man. That nigga was right. Fuck Marlo. Fuck this fucking war. All this beef over a couple of fucking corners.
Don't matter who did what to who at this point. Fact is, we went to war, and now there ain't no going back. I mean, shit. It's what war is, you know? Once you in it, you in it. If it's a lie, then we fight on that lie. But we gotta fight.
Boss, you get that boy Marlo a line on our connect. He might try to go around the co-op. Go around us. You know what I'm saying?
So Stringer Bell tries to manipulate Slim Charles into throwing his life away in a dummy mission. But Slim Charles, as smart as he is and being a smart pawn,
I need you to hit somebody.
Who we hitting?
Clay Davis.
The Clay Davis? Downtown Clay Davis?
That's supposed to mean something to me, man. That nigga need to be got.
Shit, String, murder ain't no thing. But this here's some assassination
Nigga,
shit,
I tell
man.
you getting somebody, you getting them. I ain't asking.
Damn, String, I don't know.
Nigga, I gotta remind her who the fuck you work for.
and ask yourself, you don't think Stringer Bell could have got any other person, did a dummy mission and went to go take out Clay Davis? Yes, he could have. And also, y'all don't think Stringer Bell had enough money to just walk away completely? He could have just left the game. He had enough money, but he wanted the crown. And a lot of people didn't pay attention to that. You really think that Stringer Bell really cared about that $100,000 that Clay Davis took from him? No, he did not care. He didn't care about that money, bro. String had properties. He had properties he was renting out. He had a nice condo he was living in, as you seen when McNulty and Bunk went inside his place. He had a nice place. So instead of just taking all of his money and leaving the game. So what reason did Stringer really have to snitch on Avon? He could have just walked away. If String had survived, it's not like Avon wouldn't have known that Stringer Bell snitched on him, right? He would have read the paperwork. He would have probably more than likely testified at court. So String had already killed Avon's nephew and going behind his back to undercut him with the moves. So why would it be far-fetched to think that Stringer Bell was positioning himself to be king and wear Avon's crown?
Tell you getting somebody, you getting them. I ain't asking.
Damn, String, I don't know.
Nigga, I gotta remind who the fuck you work for?
Hey, I think Slim gonna have to sit this one out, boss.